a minute. Sorry if I'm clogging up your traffic.
Oh, you're fine. We're going to have a player in your filming. So.
Okay, great.
Defense will be number 10, Zane Dempsey. Also on defense, Jensen. Starting at center will be number 16, Aaron Myers. At forward will be number 8, Nate Ford.
All right, good evening, everyone. Marty Hill coming to you here from the Chippewa Area Hockey Arena, where the Minnesota Wilderness are in town to take on the Chippewa Steel. Marty Hill with you here on Hockey TV. And we're also streaming on the YouTube page, and the Wilderness coming into tonight, hoping to put an end to that two-game losing streak that began last weekend at home against the Janesville Jets. As they continue this four-game swing outside of the Central Division. You've got Chippewa coming into this game as the third-place team in the Midwest with a 23-12 record. 35 games they played. That is the fewest in the NAHL. Meanwhile, the Wilderness have a 19-18-2 record in the Central Division. And the difference between these two teams outside of pretty good disparity as far as the records go. You've got Chippewa in a playoff position right now in the Midwest Division. In third place, the Wilderness sitting 8 back of the fourth playoff spot in the Central Division, sitting in fifth place. And they're right now going through starting lineups for this game here tonight. You've got the Wilderness going with Isaac Johansson as the starting goaltender. Caleb Johnson is injured, and word has it that it's going to be a lengthy injury. So still waiting to get official word on that. Starting defense for the Wilderness is Zane Dempsey. He is a former Chippewa Steel playing in what used to be his home building. Also is Ryan Nelson starting at forward, Aaron Myers with Tyler Watkins and Nate Horn. That is your B&B Market starting lineup. We'll get the starters for the Chippewa Steel in a moment. Time now to pause for our national anthem.
Tonight's anthem is being performed by Lacey Cooey.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the red
All right, we're just about ready for hockey here in Chippewa Falls. Looking at the starters for the Chippewa Steel. Trent Burnham is their starting goaltender. Native of Eagle River, Alaska, double berth here on defense. And Spencer Euler, the native of Howell, Michigan, and he is also a double O. Jackson Decker is also on defense from Algonquin, Illinois, 99 berth year, starting at forward. They've got Braden Lindstrom, a native of Wyandotte, Michigan, with Jacob Dirks on the right from Mindoro, Wisconsin, 99 berth year. And then you got Connor Smool, a 99 berth year from Castle Rock, Colorado. By the way, Lindstrom is an 01 berth year, starting tonight for Chippewa Falls. And we're just about set for the drop of the puck. You're Wilderness in the black. You've got Chippewa in the white. Very similar color scheme here. The only difference is the Wilderness have a little bit of red. As we are underway here in Chippewa Falls as they break into the steel zone. Puck taken away by Spencer Euler. He deals it ahead to Lindstrom. Backhand pass goes to Smool, and it'll go in deep in the Wilderness zone. Here's Johansson. He'll whip it off the glass, and it's chipped behind the net. Dempsey hustling after it, comes in contact with the puck taken away by Smool. Then he coughs it up, and the Wilderness are able to break out. Horn lost control of it, and from there it's dumped in again by Euler. 30 seconds expired, opening period, no score. This is Dempsey in his own end. Leads the puck through center. This goes off of Herter's stick, and it goes out of play. Welcome back to Jake Herter to the Wilderness lineup. Looking at the rest of the Wilderness in action tonight, you've got Bram Shearer centering a line with Garrett Worth and Jake Herter. Lewis Crosby also centering Shakara Hanzawa and Alec Coakley, and Mitch Allard with Gavin Rasmussen and Nate Adrian. Aiden Drossis is an extra forward tonight for the Wilderness. On defense here for this shift, you got Blake Holmes with Kimball Johnson. And here is Holmes with it in his own end. In on the forecheck is McGrath for the steal as it's chipped out to center. Shearer leads the rush into the Chippewa zone, and it's worked off of his stick nicely by a former Wilderness player, Isaac Moberg. Centering attempt by Herter, and his shot is blocked, and it's thrown to center. Holmes in his own zone. On the forecheck is the Belarusian Grisha Godovets. From behind his own net here is Kimball Johnson. Rips it around the wall, and it goes to Holmes on the far side. Fed along the far wall to Garrett Worth, and he'll sky this one to the near corner. As the Wilderness try to complete a line change here, as we played a minute and a half here in Chippewa Falls, as it's deflected into the Wilderness zone by Braden Dorfman. Here's Sloth in the corner to Alec Coakley. Banks it off the wall for Shearer, and he'll fire this into the Chippewa zone, and from there it's quickly worked off the wall. Kent Lee will send it cross ice as the Steel try to skate out. Banked off the far wall, too far for Dane Stoynoff, and behind the Wilderness net, Johansson will play it off the boards to the near side. Famulak holds the zone. It goes behind the net for Dorfman. Looks to center. That was blocked by Stoynoff. Dorfman able to get it toward the blue line, but it escapes the zone to neutral ice. Whalen coughed up the puck. Wilderness able to play it back to neutral ice. Chipped ahead, and now Ogle will play it into the Wilderness zone. Sloth swings it off the high glass, and now Whalen dumps it back in. Ogle moves in and pins Sloth up against the wall as the puck is in the Wilderness zone. It comes free for Hanzawa, and he feeds it for Sloth, chips it off the glass, and that gets away from Whalen. Bouncing puck at neutral ice. Still no score in this hockey game. Banks Burkhart gets a shot away. That went wide of the net, and it comes free to the near side. Crosby deals it to center. And we got activity in the Wilderness zone away from the puck, and we got a penalty being called here in the early going. A high sticking call on Chippewa is sending Vaughn to the penalty box for the first penalty of the hockey game. So the Wilderness going on the power play here. And that coming 2 minutes and 49 seconds into the contest. And it's an elbowing call on Vaughn. Wilderness with the puck in the Chippewa zone. This is Nelson. Deals it for Horn. Back to Nelson, right point. Over to Johnson on the near side. Now Nelson, far circle. Cross ice for Myers. Up top, here's Johnson. A shot is blocked. Famulak got in front of it. And the steal clear the zone. Wilderness have yet to get a power play goal in the month of January. And we're down to the final day of the month. Here is Nelson. On the right for Aaron Myers. Breaks into the Chippewa zone and tried to get it for Johnson. The play is offside. And we get a whistle with a minute 22 left in the Wilderness power play. Your officials tonight, the referee is Ian Carlson. Linesmen are Philip Casco and Tyler Willie.
I'm supposed to ask you not to lean over your block.
Okay. And off the draw, the Steel are able to clear the zone. Here comes Dempsey out of his own end. Wheels his way through center, able to throw it to the near corner. And sweeping it around the boards there is Whalen, and the Steel again clear. We're down to 55 seconds remaining in the Wilderness power play. You got Worth out there with Dempsey, Holmes, also Herder, and Shearer. And on the near side, the Chippewa Steel again able to pick it up, and they clear. Chippewa's penalty kill, 74.5%. That's 5th in the Midwest Division, 23rd in the league. Meanwhile, the Wilderness power play, 4th in the Central, 17th in the NHL. Here comes Horn, tries to force it through, and it deflects wide. Here's Shearer over to Watkins on the far wall. Sends it to Dempsey up top. They throw it toward the corner, forced out in front, comes free to the far wall. Watkins able to deal it toward the corner, but from there it's picked up by Lindstrom, and he clears the zone. Wilderness 0 for 26 on the power play in the month of January. Now make it 0 for 27 as this penalty time expires. We're back to 5-on-5. This is Horn. Fires this one through center, and it caroms to Whalen. He'll skate across the Wilderness blue line and fires this one wide of the net. From the right point, there's a shot by Farthing that is knocked aside. Godovets chips it deep. And here's Dempsey. Puck rolled off of his stick, and it's tapped to Myers. Then he lost control of it. And coming back the other way, Isaac Moberg. He got held up, and in pursuit of the puck, it came free in the corner. Dane Stoyanov tries to move it ahead. Gets to the left point, held up. There's a shot right on by Jackson Decker, held on by Johansson, and that stops play with 5 minutes and 31 seconds expired here in the opening period. Johnson's totals 0-1. He appeared in that overtime loss to Janesville a week ago Saturday night. Stopped 30 of 34 in that game. 4-3 was the final score. Off the face-off, it's played toward the corner. Stoyanov behind the net for Slav. Now Coakley got held up, but the puck comes free for Crosby to play to neutral ice, and he lost it to Lindstrom. Work toward the corner. Jackson Decker getting held up. They look to center. It comes free behind the net. In pursuit, there is Coakley along with Decker. And on the near side, it's Euler able to clear the zone. Sloth will hustle it down in his own end. Sloth 2 assists in his last 3 games. He's actually tied with the team lead in points for rookies. Here's a shot knocked away by Johansson, and the Wilderness are able to skate back. Here is Hanzawa. Shikara to the slot. Drops it for Sloth. Far side, Shearer drive, and that went wide. Good chance for the Wilderness, but right back are the Steel on the transition. Johnson able to swap that away from Farthing. Now from behind the net, centering attempt, getting the paddle down is Johansson. He finally covers up, and we got a whistle. Stoppage coming with 13:27 remaining here in period 1. Scoreless tie, Wilderness and the Chippewa Steel. Despite that power play time, we've got the Steel with the advantage in shots on goal at 5-1. Can't say the Wilderness got a lot of pressure in the man advantage. For those of you on YouTube, you get my shoe can tonight. Hope I shined them. On the right side, this is Bram Shearer, newly selected to the top prospects team for Team Central. The puck is worked out in front, chipped toward the net. Down is Burnham. They score! Garrett Worth able to reach in and bat it into the net as the scrum results in a Wilderness goal, and they get the first lead of the game. Garrett Worth gets the goal from Bram Shearer. And a good few games for Garrett Worth. He's got 5 points with his 9th goal of the season. And the assist extends Bram Shearer's point streak to 8 straight. Play again in the Chippewa zone. Here's Myers getting a shot away from his knees, and Burnham able to make the save. And that stops play with 12:53 remaining here in period 1. Only one scoreboard in this arena. Got to look through a window from my vantage point to spot it. Trent Burnham is the goaltender, 13-8 record for Chippewa, .924 save percentage, and a .248 goals against average. And that's one of the tops in the NHL. This is Aaron Myers with Nate Horn battling for it in the corner. Watkins gets it for Horn. Puck comes free, but the steal can't clear. Myers going after it in the corner. And the steal able to come up with it. They work at the center. This is Godovets across the Wilderness blue line. Feeds it for Moberg, moving in, gets the shot away, and that deflected wide. Moberg was with the Wilderness back in the 2017-18 season and part of last season. McGrath picks it up behind the net. Godovets is positioned out in front. Now Black gets it up high, and his shot deflects wide of the net. Now McGrath near wall. Takes a hit from Myers. The puck comes free, and Aaron Myers tried to clear the zone and it ended up hitting one of the rafters here. Stops play with 11:56 left here in the opening period. Now shots all even up at 6 apiece. So a flurry of shots there for the Wilderness, out shooting Chippewa within the last couple minutes, 5-1. Now Zmuhl gets a shot away. That caroms to the blue line. From the left point, a shot by Whalen, knocked aside by Johansson, and the Wilderness are able to skate back. Allard deals it off the glass, and it comes free in the Chippewa zone. Here's Black with Allard, or rather Adrian tying him up. Now Allard in the corner. They're able to work it out in front. Nice little backhand try there, and Burnham able to get his glove on top of it. His last game was a 5-2 win over Austin. The Seal picked up a home sweep last week over the Austin Bruins. Burnham stopped 33 of 35 in the 5-2 win. He's won his last 7 decisions. His last loss was back on November 23rd, a 4-1 defeat to Aberdeen. So looking at 2 months worth of victories for this young man from Eagle River, Alaska. Off the draw, it goes to the right point, and this is fired wide of the net by Stoyanov. Now Allard in the corner as they try to move it along the wall. Played back down low. Allard works it out in front. Steele are able to come up with it, and they drag it to center. That's Adrian on the back check in his pursuit, but they're able to clear the zone. Chip behind the net, taken by Stoyanov. To the far side, it's banked off the glass, and now Adrian will take over. Breaks into the Chippewa zone, but they're called on the offside. 10:54 left in period 1. And the Wilderness up by a score of 1-0. First meeting of the year between these two teams. And there'll be a total of 4 contests. 1 more here tomorrow night. And then 2 in Cloquet. That will be in a month from now. Actually, a little less than that. Off the draw, from the bottom of the circle. It chipped toward the near corner. Cleared to center and collected by Lindstrom. Wilderness defense converge, and it's thrown out of the zone by the future Mercyhurst Laker, Kimball Johnson. Here he takes it behind the net. Whip to the far side. Touch pass by Hanzawa is broken up. And now Crosby, nice work, stripping it away. 2-on-2 break for the Wilderness. Gets a shot away. That went wide of the net. Taken by Coakley. He'll bank it off the boards. It goes to Johnson to the left side. Holmes throws one toward the net. That deflects wide off the carom. They try to tuck it in. Shot by Crosby went wide of the cage. Now back to center. Here's Hanzawa. Tries to move it ahead. It goes into the steal zone. Farthing far side over to Lindstrom. Back to Farthing in front of his own net. Shearer in on the forecheck for the Wilderness. Played off the boards to neutral ice, and that goes to Holmes. He skates in his own end. Whips it to the near side for Herter. Jake Herter with McGrath in on the forecheck along with Godovets. He finds Holmes, finds center ice, who dumps it in. And from there, Jackson Decker will wheel it over to the near side. Spencer Euler able to throw it out of the zone, but Dempsey, using his stick, reaches over and throws it over to the far wall. Jackson Decker feeds it right side. And it's brought back by McGrath. He's got a lane moving in. Tried to cut around Nelson, and Nelson said no way. Pile up in the corner. Here it's Ludwig to the left point. High slot. Decker, a shot blocked in front. Comes free for Herter, and he's able to clear. On the left side, brought in. Decker's drive went over the cage. Bouncing puck to the side of the net. Decker played it off the side of the cage. Here is Dempsey. Michigan State commit back to Ryan Nelson. Off the far wall, this is brought across the line, and Watkins takes a hit. Shearer takes over possession, tries to center. Bouncing puck in the slot. And the steal looked to clear. Watkins got in front of the clearing attempt. And now Euler will try to move it ahead. His clearing attempt went off a skate. And a second effort, they were able to spin it back the other way. Now Ludwig can't get around Dane Stoyanov. Stoyanov sprawls down in front of the net. Wilderness are able to clear. Horn can't reach it. And now Myers will chase it down before it's cleared out of the steal zone. Here's Aaron Myers near side. Rather, this is Watkins looking to center. Burnham slides across the crease and is able to get control of the puck, and he hangs on. That forces a stoppage with 8:48 left to play. Period 1, 1-0. Wilderness in front. Good hustle from both teams. You have to see a shift really not show up so far here tonight, at least for the boys in black and green. Here's a shot right on Horn, the rebound, and he scores right off the face-off. Nate Horn makes it 2-0 with 8:43 left in the first. Horn gets the goal. The assist goes to Myers. 15th goal. Make that 17th goal this season for Nate Horn. And that gives him 25 points, puts a tie for the team lead in points. And we get a 2-zip lead for the boys in black. Tyler Watkins had taken over the point lead last weekend. And now tied for that top spot with Nate Horn. Tyler Watkins, another one going to the top prospects tournament to play for Team Central. Wilderness are able to send 2 to that tournament taking place in February in Attleboro, Massachusetts. And Zane Dempsey is also going to that tournament, going to be playing for one of the select squads. Here at center, it's Brendan Sloth throwing it into the Chippewa zone, and the steal will set up from behind their own cage on the near side. Decker. This is Euler off the glass to neutral ice, and from there, Zmuhl tries to move it ahead. Over skated, and Aaron Myers is able to dump it in. Zmuhl leading scorer for the Chippewa Steel with 39 points on the season. Now Euler gets to the blue line, gets a shot away, knocked aside by Johansson. And Kimball Johnson able to play it the other way. That went off a Hanzawa stick to avoid any icing. Bouncing puck at center, brought across the line. Moberg could not get through Blake Holmes and Kimball Johnson. And here is Alec Coakley. Dishes it ahead for Hanzawa. Off the far wall, Johnson dumps it in. And it comes free in the near corner. Battle for the loose puck on the near side. 7:14 remaining. First period, 2-0. Wilderness in the lead. Goals by Garrett Worth and Nate Horn. Finally, the Steel able to come away with it. This is Dorfman to the left side for Godovets. Back pass for Dorfman. Back for Godovets behind the net. Moberg tries to drag it along. Lost control of the puck. Played off the side of the cage, and now Kimball Johnson came in contact. We got a penalty coming. And it appears this is going to be on Mitch Allard. And the best power play in the Midwest Division, the third best in the league, is going to go to work. Cross-checking the call on Allard. Chippewa Steel's power play working at a 27% success rate this season. And watching the draw to the left of his cage is Johansson. Here is Euler. Zmuhl sets up at the half wall. Cross ice goes to Lindstrom. He spins back toward the blue line. Tries to feed it down low and off a horn stick. They recover. Here's Zmuhl. Far side pass intended for Vaughn off target. Lindstrom. Half wall Dirks. And he scores. That took a funny hop off a stick. Johansson wasn't expecting it to change direction like that. And the Chippewa Steel get a power play goal to make it 2-1. That's Dirks with the goal coming at the 13:33 mark. And Lindstrom with the assist. Jacob Dirks, his 17th of the season. And they cut the Wilderness lead in half. They get a power play goal. Here it's taken away by Worth. Feeds it for Shearer. Works his way toward the cage. Tries to jam it in. Backhand try by Herter. Worth gets the drive. Burnham the save. Shearer another shot. Now Worth, bottom of the circle. Allows Herter to take it. Tries to force it out in front for Shearer. He's directed to the near wall. Puck comes free. McGrath is there to clear. We got a penalty coming. It's going to be a holding call on Whalen. So the Wilderness going back on the power play. 0 for 1 so far on the night. And a face-off in the Chippewa zone. A chance here for the Wilderness to get that 2-goal lead back. And here it's skied the length of the ice by Spencer Euler. Steel have scored 7 shorthanded goals this season. Here is Ryan Nelson for Horn. Lost control of it at the blue line, and it's lifted back to neutral ice. Far side, brought across by Myers. Forces it behind the cage. Here's Burnham to the far wall. Swept to Myers, right point. Touch pass goes to Nelson up top. One-timer by Johnson. A glove save by Burnham. That was impressive. Good velocity on that shot by Johnson, and the goaltender, Burnham, whips the glove out to stop play. And the penalty time down to minute 26 here for the Wilderness. This is a community printing power play with 5:29 left to play here in the first period. Wilderness up 2-1. Burnham to watch this draw to his right. And the clearing attempt goes over Dempsey's glove in the Wilderness zone. Now Dempsey. Cross ice taken by Holmes to the right for Worth. Back to Holmes. Cross ice, he goes for Herter. Up top Dempsey. Bottom of the circle. Worth tried to toe drag his way out in front, but then the puck poked off his stick, sent the other way. Less than a minute to play in the power play. Here's Dempsey in his own end. Less than 5 to play in the period. Herder can't reach this pass. Now Euler will touch it. Banks it off the boards. It comes free far side and whipped off the glass, and Wilderness will have to work from their own end as we're down to 35 seconds remaining in the man advantage. This is Blake Holmes, Apple Valley, Minnesota native, till center. Here's Herder, cross ice for Myers. Future Bemidji State Beaver on the right side for Tyler Watkins. And from there, it's stripped away by Lindstrom. He'll get a shot on goal from that vantage point, and Johansson will leave it for Nelson. Nelson off of Watkins' stick. Puck caroms toward the rear of the cage, and it's taken over by Decker. Deals it far side. Cleared to the blue line, but not out. Johnson with it near circle. Plays it for Nelson. Bottom of the circle, here's Myers. Stick handling over to the near side. Up top for Nelson. Gets the shot away, right on the save made by Burnham. He hangs on. Penalty time is over. And we're back to 5-on-5 with 3:50 left to play in period one. Wilderness have taken full control in the shots on goal total here. 16-9 we've got on the scoreboard count. Burnham to watch this draw to his left. Hanzawa deals it toward the rear of the cage. This is Coakley. Also trying to work it free is Crosby. It goes to Godovets, and he leads the rush to center. Fires this deep in the Wilderness zone. McGrath can't reach it now. Moberg cuts out in front. His centering attempt blocked by Stoyanov. Now Sloth chasing after it near side. Dug out by Coakley, and he finds Hanzawa. Hanzawa puts on the Jets. Skates along the near side. Tries to get around Farthing. His centering attempt rejected to the near side. And from there, it's dumped into the Wilderness zone. Going after it, Stoyanov. Godovets also. And Sloth picks it up. He takes a hit. Crosby is there to free it over to the far wall, and Hanzawa will dump it in on the backhand. Wilderness completing a line change with less than 3 to play in the first. Puck taken away by Euler. Whipped to Dirks across the Wilderness blue line. Gets a shot away. Patted aside by Johansson. Thrown toward the net. Johansson kicks that away. Holmes on the near side for Adrian. Can't get around Euler, but it is deflected to neutral ice. Lindstrom. And on the far side, Dirks. Lindstrom shot, and that deflects wide of the goal. They get it to the left point. Jackson Decker, a shot that went wide. Chipped off the boards. Euler holds the zone. Steered aside by the goaltender, Johansson. Wilderness with some trouble in the forecheck here. Aggressive forecheck by Chippewa here. They do get it to neutral ice. Let's see if they can get any further. It is controlled by Chippewa on their own end. Famulak whips it for Decker. Decker across the Wilderness blue line. You get Johnson and Holmes moving in to work him toward the corner. Centering attempt. Dorfman, a shot right on. The save made by Johansson. Dorfman right on the doorstep, bottom of the circle. Flipped that one on goal, and the save made by Johansson. That's his 10th save on the night. And we'll get a face-off coming to his right. We've got a $1.50 left to play here in period one. 2-1, Wilderness leading Chippewa. This is Worth in on the draw with Moberg. Here's Nelson. Behind the net for Dempsey. Herder, 9-irons it to center. Steered the other way by Herder. Herder's line was the last one to get any significant time in the Chippewa zone. Back out on the ice. Now Moberg had it kicked away by Dempsey, and here's Nelson kicks it off the glass for Shearer. Reaching here is Dempsey. Herder looks to dump it in. That was blocked. Skied for McGrath. He skates in. Maybe 2-on-1 here. Puts on the brakes. Tried to feed it across, and it was blocked. Nice stick work by Ryan Nelson. Here's Shearer coming back. Skates along the blue line, and he skated himself offside. The puck danced across that blue line, and that stops play with 1:10 remaining in period one. 2-1 your score. Wilderness on top of the Chippewa Steel here on Hockey TV. Face-off coming just outside the zone, next to the Chippewa blue line. It's played for Sloth, and he'll dump this in. Puck will come free along the end wall. It's moved ahead for Lindstrom. Played to neutral ice. Stoyanov plays it ahead. Slips across the blue line for Watkins, left side for Horn. Tried to send it down low to Watkins, and he couldn't reach the pass. Down to the final 48 seconds here in period 1. 2-1, Wilderness in front. And the Steel are able to dig it free. This is Euler from behind his own net. Serving is the young man from Howell, Michigan. And he's able to get it to neutral ice, but then it's coughed up for Sloth. Euler again. Pass from Moberg, went underneath his stick. And now Stoyanov will recover behind his own net. Final 18 seconds of the period. Play to neutral ice, Coakley. Can't get around Black. Here's Myers. And he lost it. Moberg, last chance. Shot right on. The save made by Johansson. He drops it for Johnson. And there's the buzzer. Johnson decides to just hang on to it to allow time to expire here in period 1. And that ends the first period here in Chippewa Falls. During this first intermission, we're gonna go ahead and deliver a kind of a obituary as a legend in Cloquet hockey passed away earlier this week. We'll have that coming up for you during this intermission. This is Wilderness Hockey on Hockey TV.
Sorry about that if I was in the way of that. I didn't realize how far I was leaning over there. So.
No, it's not a problem.
I'll keep that in mind.
The kids making their way off the ice as they were entertaining the crowd here at the Chippewa Area Hockey Association Arena. Home of the Chippewa Steel, where we were in the first intermission here. Marty Hill with you here on Hockey TV. And we've got the Wilderness in front in this hockey game by a score of 2-1. And wanted to pass along some condolences to the family of Bill Kennedy. Bill Kennedy was longtime coach of Cloquet High School hockey, and he made a huge difference on the Cloquet hockey program with his work there, his dedication, and with the success that his teams had over the years. Kennedy coached Cloquet from 1967 to 68 through the 1986-87 seasons. His career totals were 295 wins and 172 losses. Not sure how many ties there were in there, but getting this from seasons, his career totals were 295 wins and 172 losses. Not sure how many ties there were in there, but getting this from a Blue News Tribune story from a few years back. You had there with those wins and losses. He was instrumental in spearheading the project that led to the first indoor rink to be built in Cloquet. That is the Pine Valley Ice Shelter, which sits right next to the Northwoods Credit Union Arena, which at first, when it was first built, was the Cloquet Area Recreation Center. And so you got that to influence there. And on top of that, he was the first, he was behind the bench when Cloquet was able to get to its first state tournament back in 1981-82, back in the day when the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament was a one-class event. And they finished that season with a record of 23-4, ended up being the consolation champions in that particular tournament. And considering that encompassed every high school in the state of Minnesota, that's pretty impressive numbers right there. Guys that came through his program, Jim Springer, Jim Plankers, Marty Kettela, Brian Duran, John Panger, and also the very first coach for the Minnesotans when they were in the NHL, that being Corey Millen. Corey Millen actually ended up playing in the NHL for a few years. His final year with the Lumberjacks had an outstanding statistical total of 46 goals, 33 assists. That was just in 18 games played. Millen actually ended up breaking his ankle at the end of that season, which forced him to miss the state tournament. So the Jacks were able to come away with the consolation prize without their best player in the tournament. So our condolences go to the Kennedy family, and it is a celebration of remembrance of Bill Kennedy and the influence he had in Cloquet. And who knows, without the work he did, I think it's very unlikely that we'd have a junior A hockey team in Cloquet. I think it's a lot of the work that he did there was instrumental in what ultimately led to the presence of this franchise being played in Cloquet. So he passed away on Monday at the age, I believe it was 86 was his 85 or 86, somewhere around there, and when he passed away. Also a member of the Minnesota High School Hockey Coaches Association in class from back in 2009. So, again, we say thanks to the work of Bill Kennedy in building that Cloquet hockey program. We're going to take a timeout. We will bring you the out-of-town scores from around the NAHL in a moment. This is Wilderness Hockey on Hockey TV. We're in the first intermission here in Chippewa Falls. 2-1 Wilderness up on the Chippewa Steel. First game of a 2-game series. Down here in the Chippewa Valley. Part of this area that not too is Eau Claire, and we've got communities of Bloomer and not too far away we got Menominee and all those different outposts here in western Wisconsin. They always have those festivals out here. The concert festivals not too far away, Rock Fest and Country Fest, just a few miles out here in this part of western Wisconsin as we're getting ready for the start of the second period. Let's get some scores from around the league. We'll begin out here. Let's get some scores from around the league. We'll begin with. I know they used to call this the Battle of the Raven Cup. I'm not sure if that's what it's called anymore, but it's between Fairbanks and Kenai River, Alaska teams. And Fairbanks picking up the win in the first game of that series up in Fairbanks. 7-2 was the final last night. And that's, I'm sure, something these Chippewa fans are happy to hear, as their Steel sit just 7 points back of the Brown Bears in the final home ice playoff spot for the first round of the playoffs. Of course, playoffs are only 2 months away here in the NAHL. We already had a couple of teams clinch postseason appearances. Those are the Lone Star Brahmas and the Amarillo Bulls. Brahmas and Bulls both tied for first going into tonight in the South Division, and have already punched their ticket to postseason play. Let's take a look at some scores from around the league. We'll begin with the East Division. You've got the Maine Nordiques hosting the New Jersey Titans. The Nordiques 5-2 with the lead in the third period. And another East Division score. You've got Johnstown in the second period ahead of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. Maryland Black Bears trying to claw their way to victory. They got a 3-1 lead over the Jamestown Rebels. That's a game late in the second. Swing on over to the south, you've got the Topeka Pilots hosting the New Mexico Ice Wolves. And the Pilots right now and the Ice Wolves battling with a 2-2 tie right now, about the midway point of the second period. Early in the second, Amarillo with a 2-0 lead over the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. As we move to the Midwest Division, you've got the Janesville Jets on top of the Springfield Junior Blues. 3-1 the score. And they're in the second period. And you've got a cross-division contest tonight in St. Cloud. The Blizzard hosting the Minnesota Magicians. The Blizzard out of the Central, the Magicians out of the Midwest. It's a 1-1 tie right now. That game is in the second period. One other South Division game. It's 1-0 in Odessa. Shreveport Mudbugs with the lead in that contest as they are just starting the second period. Other Central Division scores, you've got Bismarck playing host to Aberdeen. And at the end of one period, that game is scoreless. And in Minot, Austin Bruins with a 1-0 Ice Dogs entertaining the Kenai River Brown Bears. Second game of that 3-game series. Here we got a 2-1 score after one period. Wilderness and the Chippewa Steel, first time meeting this season. Wilderness getting goals from Garrett Worth and Nate Horn. They had a 2-0 lead at one point. Worth able to get his 9th goal of the season, and Horn with his 17th. Worth's goal assisted by Bram Shearer. And Horn's tally assisted by Aaron Myers. Myers with his 15th helper of the year. And Worth and Myers joining the 20-point club. The 6th on the team to hit the 20-point mark. We did have 3 penalties that period. 2 called on Chippewa, 1 called on the 43 mark of the period. As the first period, your shots on goal, 16-12 in favor of the Wilderness. 14 saves that period for the Chippewa goaltender Trent Burnham. And on the other end, you've got Isaac Johansson that stopped 11 steal shots, and we're just about set to go for period number 2. So here we go. Teams at center ice. And for those of you on the YouTube channel, let me know if you want to see a foot dance, as we got the foot cam in place here tonight. Off the draw, it's Zmuel able to work it deep in the Wilderness zone. Dempsey works it to the far wall, chipped out to center. Lindstrom chases it down. Plays it ahead. Euler wheels his way through center, breaks into the Minnesota end. Back for Shearer. Cannot get around Moberg. And Isaac will feed it on the near side for Godovets. Moberg directing it toward the corner. Looks like Shearer has lost his stick. And there's a shot from the top of the circle by Whalen that's controlled by Johansson. Johansson decides to hang on, forces a face-off in the Minnesota zone. We've played a minute 23 of period 2, 2-1. Minnesota with the lead. Shearer gets a new blade. And it will be out here for this face-off. Moberg on the draw. It comes free top of the circle for Shearer, and he skates into the Chippewa zone. Farthing drives him against the board. Herder directing it toward the corner. Coming up with Edworth out in front. Shearer shot. Oh, he fanned on it. And on the near side, Godovets banks it off the wall. Moberg slips it into the zone. Holmes directs it behind the net. Feeds it to the far side. Here's Herder. Over to Kimball Johnson. And we'll dump this into the zone. Euler from behind his own net. And this time you got Hanzawa in on the forecheck. A little bit deeper forecheck here as we play just over 2 minutes of the second period. 2-1 Wilderness in front. Pass deflected off of Dorfman's stick. It bounces free behind the net. McGrath hustling after it. Johnson beats him there. It comes free for Crosby, and he'll work from behind the cage. Puts on the brakes. Forces it far side for Holmes. Ahead to Hanzawa, and he redirects it toward the corner. Jackson Decker is the first one to pick it up. Whips it off the boards, and he's able to clear. This should be icing. And that it is. 2 minutes, 37 seconds gone here in period 2. Wilderness and Chippewa renewing a rivalry that dates back to when this Chippewa franchise was in Cooley region, and they were known as the Chill. There were some battles back in those years. These two teams were part of the same division for a while. 3 seasons they had about either 8 or 12 meetings a year. Here's Horn. Drops it back for Myers. Aaron Myers along the wall. Feeds it down low for Horn. Horn trying to escape pressure. Over to Watkins. Watkins fanned on his shot. Chip behind the net. Now Myers. Gets the pass for Stoyanov. Right point. Fires it off the end wall. Myers going after it. And he leaves it for Sloth. Tries to work it out in front. Horn sends it toward the blue line, but nobody was there guarding that spot on the ice. And now here's Sloth. Off the glass, gloved down by Euler. Breaks into the Wilderness zone. Euler out in front, and it comes free to the near side. They get it to the left point. Black's shot deflects to the far side. Moving in there is Dorfman to send it down low. Stoyanov can't control the puck, but it's taken away by Sloth. Brendan Sloth to the left side. Myers takes it off the carom and will dump it in. Whalen beats Horn to the puck, whips it over to the far side for Jake Vaughn. On the right side, there's a shot by Lindstrom that went wide, and it comes free to the near wall. Chippewa regains control at their own blue line. Black to Zmuel. Smool gives chase along the wall, tries to feed it to the right point for Black. Getting in front of the pass was Adrian. Black able to work it down low. Here is the Wilderness captain, Nelson. Tries to play it along the boards. It ends up deflecting out of play. And that leads to a stoppage with 15:42 left here in the second period. 2-1, Wilderness leading. You got Chippewa here being coached by Carter Foguth. He took over on an interim basis last season and then was officially named the head coach at the conclusion of the year. And his assistant is Connor White. Foguth played his collegiate hockey at Minnesota State. Native of Ypsilanti, Michigan. Here's Decker with a shot. That gets batted around before it's taken over by Shearer. Edina native off the glass. Bounces in the Chippewa zone. Here's Herder. Back for Shearer, and a shot went wide. Spins along the wall, gets to Nelson. His shot is blocked. And that comes all the way back in the Wilderness zone. Here comes Moole moving in to the right side. And coming back defensively was Nelson as he got in front of Dirks and prevented him from getting a clean scoring chance. Terrific work there by Ryan Nelson. Here's Decker. Ahead to Farthing. From the half wall, gets a shot away right to the glove of the goaltender, Johansson, and he'll force a stoppage with just over 5 minutes gone here in the second period. Wilderness have yet to register a shot on goal here in period 2. Meanwhile, you've got Chippewa with 4 shots thus far. And looking for more. Face-off to the left of Johansson. Wilderness control the face-off. Coakley tries to deal it toward the wall, and the Steel are able to work it behind the net. Johnson spins away from McGrath. The pass comes to Hanzawa. He skates across the line, but then it rolled off his stick. Throws it down low. It goes free behind the net. Crosby can't reach it in time. Now Hanzawa comes away with the puck. Reaching in there and poking it away was Whalen. Coakley's shot ends up being blocked. They get it to the blue line. It slips out of the zone before it's sent back in by Holmes. Now Euler to center. And McGrath just got knocked down. This is going to be a penalty on the Wilderness. Lewis Crosby is going to go to the box. McGrath slow getting up. And they're going to call that a kneeing penalty on Lewis Crosby. Time of the penalty, 5:43. So the top power play in the Midwest Division will go to work once again. Face off in the Wilderness zone. This is Euler. Chance here for Chippewa to tie. They got 1 power play goal already. Here's Euler with a shot, redirects wide. Another thing about Chippewa, they've yet to allow a shorthanded goal this season. Euler, far wall, that got away from Zmuhl. And from there, it's picked up by Kimball Johnson, and he clears. This is Euler from behind his own cage. We've got 30 seconds expired in this Chippewa power play. Vaughn steps across the line. Drops it for Lindstrom on the near wall. And it's worked out to center. That gets past everybody in the Chippewa zone. Euler feeling the heat from Aaron Myers in on the forecheck. We've got 1:10 remaining in Chippewa's power play. Wilderness with a new penalty killing unit on the ice. Very patient is Euler as he makes his way through center. Tries to split the defense, makes his way right side, gets a shot blocked, and Myers is there to come up with it. Clears the zone. Decker with it. Ahead for Dorfman. Myers able to work that free. Now Moberg. Isaac Moberg looking for space, able to dump it in. That comes free behind the net. Swiped along the wall by Nelson. Myers reaching for it. Now he comes up with a chance to clear, able to feed it out of the zone, and Jake Herder comes back already with 3 shorthanded goals this season. Herder with it, half wall, over to Coakley, directs it toward the net, but it's taken away. And leading the rush back is McGrath. He was the one that drew the penalty. And McGrath lost control of it in the corner, and there is Nelson to clear. McGrath did a little dancing back there and lost control of the puck. This puck is sent on goal. And Johansson, as it looked, the steal as it was an errant pass, and lucky for them, it was able to get on goal. Otherwise, it would have been an icing. Still 10 seconds remaining on the power play. And it'll be Johansson watching this face-off to his left. It'll be Lindstrom with Shearer on the draw. Jab toward the corner. Kimball Johnson will spin it around the boards, and it comes back in the Chippewa zone. That'll do it for this power play for the steal. Farthing feeds it for Whalen as we're down to 12-12 remaining here in the second period. Farthing's outlet pass caught Smool in the skate. Then he lost control of it. Kimball Johnson the other way. Lindstrom moved across the line. Drops the pass back for Dirks. Feeds it near circle for Smool. Whip around the wall. Now Lindstrom can't handle it. Batted back. Here is Dirks with one hand on the puck. Had it poked away by Blake Holmes. And here come the Wilderness. Possible 3-on-2. Herter, Shearer couldn't get the pass out in front for Worth. As it was Whalen. And it's fed out to center. Sent back deep in the zone. Back to neutral ice. Broken up there by Dorfman. He coughed it up to Shearer. Then he got tripped. We got a penalty coming. Actually, they're going to call this a slashing call on Dorfman. So with 8:50 gone here in the second period, Wilderness going to go back on the power play. Shearer drawing this penalty called on Dorfman. And it'll be the third power play on the night for the Wilderness. They're 0 for 2. And a big chance here to bring back that 2-goal lead. This is Johnson with Famulak there on the defense. They get it down low for Watkins. Try to sweep it across. It hit a stick. And it lands in favor of the goaltender. Is able to hang on. Looks like we got another penalty being called with 10:56 left to play. Only 14 seconds expired in this power play. Let's see what the situation is here. Again, an interference call. And it's going to be on Whalen. Well, these officials are definitely keeping themselves busy tonight. And it is Whalen going to the box. So it'll be a 5-on-3 now for the Wilderness for the next minute 46. Now I'll set things up to the left of the goaltender Burnham. Big chance for the Wilderness. Could be a big turning point of the hockey game. Here's Nelson left side for Kimball Johnson. Nelson in the slot. Sends it down low to Myers. He finds Horn. Back to Myers. Over to Nelson. Johnson with it. Out in front is Watkins. Johnson looking to tee it up. Back to Horn. Out in front. And Watkins got his stick tied up. The puck comes free. Euler is able to come up with it. And dishes it back the other way. Minute 18 remaining in the 5-on-3. Nelson will work from behind his own net. On the left side, this is Horn. Got cut off by Farthing. It gets to Nelson at the left point. Over to Johnson. Down low to Worth at the bottom of the circle. Here's Nelson. Johnson backpedals toward the blue line. Sends it down low, Worth. Worth stick handles his way up top. Trades positions with Johnson. Far side, one-timer by Kimball. Rebound goes to Worth. And he fanned on it. Losing his stick is Horn, and he tried to strip it away from Smool. Here comes Smool back. Short-handed chance. Right side Farthing. Smool was cutting out in front, but he couldn't connect. 28 seconds remaining in the 5-on-3. Here's Herter. It's on the breaks, half wall, throws it out in front. Worth moving in the shot, and he scores! Garrett Worth breaks the power play drought for the Wilderness, and they now lead 3-1. They get the goal on the 5-on-3. Second goal on the night for Garrett Worth. So he gets the double-digit goals for the first time in his junior career. Herder with the assist. And the Wilderness power play continues. Still 18 seconds remaining in the 5-on-4. Here's Worth. He gets pinned up along the end wall, and it's thrown to the near side. Lindstrom gets pinned. They get to the right point, Holmes. To the left side, Dempsey. Back to Holmes up top. Penalty is over. Holmes throws one toward the net, controlled by the goaltender Burnham. And he hangs on. 8:53 left here in the second. Wilderness up 3-1. And that is the first power play goal for the Wilderness in exactly a month. It was on New Year's Eve that they scored their last power play goal. It was against the St. Cloud Blizzard. Face off to the left of Burnham. Here's Myers in on this face off with Moberg. Off the near wall, banked toward the corner by Stoyanov. Gathered by Whalen. And he clears it to center. That went off the back of Godovets. Now Watkins gets tripped up by McGrath, but no call. Moberg cross ice. That went off a stick to the near wall. Whalen takes a shot. That's blocked. Redirected toward the corner. It's to McGrath, and he's stripped of the puck by Aaron Myers. Myers with his thievery now. Stoyanov got tripped up again by McGrath. Two penalties we could have seen on McGrath on this shift. Here's Godovets. Cross up for McGrath, a shot, and he scores. Unbelievable. His players in the middle of that shift. He gets the puck out in front, and he gets the goal. Makes it 3-2. Wilderness upset. They had a discussion with the officials after that goal, and now Coach Valancourt pointing out on the ice there were two trips out there that McGrath committed before he went ahead and got the puck out in front and fired it in. I just heard McGrath. We'll wait for the official call. That's McGrath with the goal. Unassisted goal from McGrath. That's his seventh. And it's 3-2. I'm not one to usually go after the officials, but watch the replay, folks. Just watch the replay, that one. And you'll see what I mean. Face off just outside the zone. Here's Crosby in on this face-off with Ogre. Steele win the face-off. It's away from Lee. Here comes Hanzawa. Moves across the line, then he overskated. Lee comes up with it. Lee's another one from Japan for this Steele team. A couple of Japanese nationals. Hanzawa being one, Kent Lee being the other. Gets bounced around along the far wall. Burke works it out in front. Clearing attempt by Hanzawa is blocked. It's cleared to center, batted back across the line, and it goes to Holmes. He finds Johnson. Holmes takes the pass, feeds it through center. He finds Crosby. On the right side, Hanzawa reaching for it. Decker steps in front, spins it over to the far wall, and now Lee takes the pass, skates through center, finds Burkhart. Burkhart trying to skate around the defense, tries a shot, now comes up with it at the doorstep. It's still loose out in front. Lee works it over to the far side. Still a battle for the loose puck. Burkhart skates away with it. Looks like the net might have been partially dislodged. They are directing traffic here in front of the steel bench after the whistle. Yeah, net was dislodged. Johansson sets it back in place himself. Off the draw, sent to the far wall. 6:48 left to play, second period. Wilderness up 3-2. Taken by Dirks. He'll play it along the boards. And it's worked back to center. Lindstrom forces it to the far side. Now Zmuhl takes the pass as Kimball Johnson fell down. The shot looked like that went off the face mask of Johansson. It gets to Whalen at the point. Played behind the net. Kimball Johnson couldn't reach that. Backhand pass Zmuhl. Far side Whalen shot blocked by Coakley. He awaits the pass along the far wall and now deals this to neutral ice. It comes back in the steel zone. Wilderness working on a line change here. Here it's jabbed away by Shearer. Chance moving in. Shearer waits. Backhands it out in front, but it goes right to Jacob Dirks. And the steel captain breaks loose. Here's Zmuhl, left side. Moving in on goal. And got his stick held up by his former teammate, Zane Dempsey. Now Herder through center. It gets redirected to Blake Holmes. Dirks got knocked down. They find Watkins with a shot winding up. Decker got his stick on it, and it's played behind the net. Here's a chance for Herder right on the save made by Burnham. Burnham with a huge save from point-blank range. He denies Jake Herder. Huge save there for Trent Durham. Now Moberg looking to center. Played out in front. Big save by Johansson. Moberg again with it. He lost it to Shearer, and he clears the zone. This is going to make its way on goal. Allows the Wilderness to get in a line change with 5 left to play here in the second period. Minnesota leading 3-2. Euler faked one way, went to his right. Decker off the wall. That got away from Godovets, and he pursues it in the corner. Lifts it near side. That went off a glove, and it ends up out of play. Steele with some aggressive play there. They responded well. Off the face-off. Out in front of the net. Sloth in the corner. They get it to the right point. Black toward the net went wide. And a wraparound attempt there went off the pad of Johansson. Black had it stripped away here by Horn. He deals the pass for Watkins, moving one-on-one with Whalen. Fires the shot from the circle and the save made by Burnham. Burnham decides to hang on, just tucks it in and forces a draw in his zone. 4:17 left in period 2. Invite you to stick around for the second intermission. We'll be joined by Wilderness assistant coach Brennan Phelps, who is just about 5 feet away from me. Actually, the top of his head I can see. As we're positioned right above the Wilderness bench, face off to the right of the netminder Burnham. Black spins it behind the net. Black spins it behind the net. Putting on the bricks is Whalen. Banks it to Black. And deflected off Dirk's stick. And gathering it in his own end is Stoyanov. Off the stick of Shearer, back in the steel zone, and it's cleared back the other way. Zmuhl takes the pass. Had his stick lifted by Shearer. Now Stoyanov able to dump it to neutral ice. Dirks skates across right side. Dirks is one that seems like he's been with this organization forever. Was part of that last Cooley region team. No, Smool's another one. He lost the puck to Herter, and now Worth will skate across. His backhand pass too far for Shearer. He'll take it off the near wall, throws it toward the net, but it goes right to Spencer Euler. Euler splits the defense, moves in on goal, try to throw it out in front. There was nobody there. Luckily, Kimball Johnson able to control the puck and cleared away. After dumping it in, Bram Shearer took a hit from Burkhart. We got another penalty being called. Burkhart delivered a right jab to Shearer away from the puck. And that leads to a roughing penalty. So the Wilderness, who are one for 4 with the man advantage, get their 5th power play attempt tonight. That's with 3:11 left to play here in the period. Horn takes the pass near side. He's got Nelson up top. And Black muscles him against the wall. And a pass for Moberg bounces toward the Wilderness net pads to deny Isaac Moberg as he came in on a shorthanded break. Moberg's got a pair of shorthanded goals this season. He actually leads this Chippewa team in shorthanded tallies. He and Jacob Dirks both with 2. This draw to the right of Johansson, winding up. Zmuel's shot, kicked aside back. Chip down low, Watkins moving in. Then he's stripped to the puck by Dirks, and he clears the zone. Puck makes its way on goal. Got Watkins out there. Coming into this. Whalen comes up with it, gets it toward the blue line. It escapes the zone. 1:10 remaining in the power play. Here's Nelson in his own end. That's Lindstrom hot on his tail as they get it to Kimball Johnson. Work behind the net to Nelson. Here comes Nelly out of his own end. Finds Worth. And the Wilderness are called in an offside. 2:02 left here in the second. 3-2. Minnesota leading Chippewa. And it's going to be Zmuel to take this face-off with Bram Shearer. Shearer out there with Worth, Herter, Dempsey, and Holmes. It's fired into the zone. Euler work from behind his own net. Zmuel takes the pass. Breaks across the line. Cannot split the defense. Puck comes free for Holmes. And he finds Herter. And he copped it up to Euler. We got a whistle and an offside. And that'll bring the faceoff outside the zone. Faceoff will be taken by Watkins. He's got Lindstrom on the opposite side. 30 seconds left in the power play. Wilderness win the draw. Here's Nelson over to Kimball Johnson, who will dump it in. That'll carry him along the wall. Bouncing puck in the corner. Wilderness not much on this power play. We'll see if they can do something in the last few seconds. Black will play along the boards. That's too far for Kimball Johnson. All the way back in the Wilderness zone. 1:18 left to play here in the period, and the final seconds ticking away on this power play. Here's Nelson. Fires it in. Gets the shot away on goal. Burnham deals that ahead. And now Godovets was waiting for the pass, and Nelson got his stick in front of it. Now Lindstrom back to Moberg, over to Black. On the near side, pass intended for McGrath, broken up. Back in its own end, it's played to Black in front of his own blue line. We got a delayed offside call as the Wilderness take over in their own zone. Final 43 seconds of period 2. Wilderness up 3-2. Deflected toward the steel blue line. Played near side Euler. That got caught in Moberg's skates. We got a delayed penalty call here on the Wilderness Extra attacker on the ice for the steal. Bouncing puck in the zone. McGrath lost it to Coakley, and there's the whistle. And the penalty is going to be called with 21.8 seconds left. It's a high sticking minor. And that'll be called on Hanzawa. Hanzawa, 4 penalty minutes. So a rare situation where he'll sit in the box. 4 penalty minutes before this penalty. Now it'll be 6. So the Steel will get another chance on the power play. They have 1 power play goal tonight. This will be their 3rd power play. And they're calling a penalty on the Steel. Carter McGrath with an argument with the referee that leads to a bench minor. I'm guessing it's on the Steel. There's a conference here. Euler and Watkins in on the discussion. I mean, it was after he had gotten done with the discussion with the head coach that led to that bench minor. They have not yet seen anybody else enter the penalty box. Okay, now Jake Vaughn will sit. So that is going to negate the power play for Chippewa. And unsportsmanlike conduct, I believe, is what was issued on the head coach, Carter McGrath of Chippewa. So it's 4-on-4 for the remainder of this period. Off the Karam in the corner, Dirks leaves it for Zmuhl. Zmuhl spinning along the wall, chased by Dempsey. Looks to center, shot off the pad of Johansson. There's the buzzer, and the second period is over. So each team adds 1 more goal, so we conclude a period with the same margin as we had at the end of the first. 3-2 the score in favor of the Wilderness. And we will have Coach Phelps make his way up here for the SCP segment. That'll be coming up in a moment.
Hey, Brendan.
Watch out for the beat. All right, we are here at the Chippewa Area Hockey Arena, where the Wilderness have a 3-2 lead over the Chippewa Steel. As we're in the second intermission, now joined by assistant coach Brennan Phelps. And we never did wish you a happy birthday. We're almost 2 weeks late on this, but
yeah, no, I'm a little disappointed. I'm still kind of hurt from it.
Happy birthday to you. I always didn't respond after your initial birthday, but maybe a little bit of better effort tonight.
Yeah, no, I liked the first period quite a bit. I thought we had pretty constant pressure there. Second period comes around, and I didn't like our puck management there. I thought too many times we were slapping the puck, and it starts with the D-men making a good first pass. They do a good job in the offensive zone of coming down the wall, right? Their D-men are right on top of our wingers, right? So it's got to be simple, right? I always tell my defensemen, your job is not only to look for your tape-to-tape pass, but it's got to set up the forward for success, right? So if you're making a tape-to-tape pass, but the D-man is right on top of the forward, he's got no chance to make his next play, and that's what a good D-man does. So we got to make sure our D-men are setting our forwards up for success and setting them free so they have some space to skate.
So, yeah, you're looking at not just getting it out of your zone. You got to get it all the way through neutral ice into their zone as far as what the strategy goes.
Yeah. I mean, right now we're making a breakout pass to our winger, but they have a D-man right on him, so it's getting clogged down right there. So he has no chance to make his next pass, right? So we did a better job in the first period of, making a quicker pass so our winger could chip it to our center coming through for support. So we need to just keep focusing on that.
Their goal, there was a lot of disagreement from the bench. I guess the main thing is you don't want to get overly frustrated about it, especially on one shift.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I've liked all the calls he's made. I think they've been pretty soft, but our play goal there, so that's good. They got one early, focused on playing 5-on-5.
Nice shot there by Worth to finally break the drought on the power play that had gone way too long.
Yeah, that was success. We were in the goal line in the first period, so that's what we're focusing on, Marty.
Now, Johansson has come up solid a few times here tonight.
Yeah, no, he's great again. We've done some good things, so now get the job done here.
And it's his net, from what I understand, for a while. Caleb's going to be out for a while, from what I understand.
Unfortunately, it seems that way, but yeah, we'll focus on the task at hand. We need these 2 points, so we need to do all the little things, play hard, we need to outwork them. They're a speedy team. They transition quickly, so if we give their defenseman the puck, they're going to make a play to get into our zone of the ice. So we just got to get them behind it, set up our forward.
Skilled team that reminds me a lot of what we saw last week against Janesville.
Very, very similar. Very similar. They skate well. They're not big, but so we need to take that into our control, right? We need to get the puck deep so we can use our size against them.
Mentality in the room must be better than what we had last going into the third period. I know last Saturday especially.
Yeah, it sure is. Lead. It sure is. Now they just got to close it out here. 2 points. Two points.
Right. That's right. Big on the road. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Marty.
Brent
Thanks for the birthday wish.
Hey, no problem. As we are here in the second intermission, we're going to take a quick timeout. Be back in a moment when we get closer to the third period. We'll have the out-of-town scores. This is Hockey on Hockey TV.
That is correct. What is steel forward Technique's birthday? That is absolutely correct. The correct answer is July 26th. The last question. What do hockey players wear on their feet when they play hockey? That's correct. And the last question. What is Predator School's favorite movie? The correct answer is Caddyshack. Thank you for competing. Good job. Keep the time. Thanks for the
All right, we're going toward the third period here in Chippewa Falls, home of the Chippewa Steel Series. First two games of this season. There will be two more in Cloquet in late February. Part of three homestands that the Wilderness have. Get past Merrimack. I'm sorry, it's still going on. Late in the third period, 5-2 is the score. We got a final from Marquette, Michigan. Northern Michigan over Ferris State, 5-2. Bemidji State's got a 3-1 lead over Bowling Green. That is after two periods. Down in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville with a 1-0 lead over Michigan Tech. And they're just starting the first period. And later on tonight, Minnesota State visits Alaska Anchorage. NCHC scores. Minnesota Duluth, big series in Denver tonight. 2-1, the Bulldogs with a 1-0 lead after one. No score in the second period. North Dakota, top-ranked team, hosting college. At St. Cloud, Miami on the road has a 2-1 lead over the Huskies. In Omaha, Western Michigan has a 2-0 lead in the second period over the Mavericks. And finally to the Big Ten, 3-3 overtime tie, Penn State and Notre Dame. Minnesota ahead of Wisconsin right now in the border battle, 4-2, the Gophers with the lead, third period score. Michigan gets a win tonight over Ohio State, 3-2. And looking at non-conference, Arizona State, 1-0, leading Robert Morris, just starting the second period. And we have an overtime tie from Plymouth, Michigan, Lake Superior State, taking on the U.S. Under-18 team. Final score, 4-4. We'll get to the NAHL scores in a moment as we start the third period. 3-2, Wilderness in front. We've got a minute and a half of 4-on-4 here to start this third period. And I'm sure the Wilderness have it fresh in their minds what happened last Saturday when they had a lead going into the third against Janesville. Skating across here is Moole. Chipped off his stick by Myers. Now Farthing throws it to Lindstrom. Backhand pass back to Farthing. Third period goals by Garrett Worth for the Wilderness as it's chipped out to center. And the Wilderness skate into the zone. Shearer tries to direct it out in front. That was blocked. 53 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4. Wilderness trying to complete a line change here. Holmes and Horn enter the play. Johansson spins it along the wall. It comes free to the near side. Horn to Holmes. It's worked off the boards to Shearer. Dirks kicks it ahead. 30 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4. Puck sitting out in front. Decker with it. Throws one toward the net off the skate of Kimball Johnson. Now Decker getting tripped up. No penalty call. Wilderness got away with one there. Here's Holmes. And he'll dump this one into the zone. Burnham leaves it for his defense. Dirk skates in front of his own net. 10 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4. Dirks enters the Wilderness zone. Still with it. Moved it on goal. The shot off the crossbar and it comes free to the far wall. Crosby back the other way. Boy, wow. Dirks inches away from tying this game. Here's Worth. Throws it toward the net. Sticked aside by the goaltender. And it's grabbed by left point. Shot knocked away. Hanzawa goes in pursuit. We're back to 5-on-5 for both teams. Burnham plays it on the near wall. Hanzawa deals it for Sloth. And it's lost to Moberg. Zmuhl tried to move it ahead for Whalen, and it comes free behind the net. Zmuhl got cut off by Hanzawa. And it's played back. Zmuhl deals it for Godovets. Back to Zmuhl. Centering attempt. Picked off by Stoyanov. Here's Allard. Throws this one toward the steel net. And from there, it's grabbed by Decker. Played to center. Cut off by Nelson. Tried to find Rasmussen on the near side, and that's as far in this contest. We got a penalty coming. That's going to be on Nate Adrian. Delayed call. Extra attacker about to hit the ice for the steal. Dirks tries to create some space for that. Stops play with 3:32 expired here in the third period. We've got a Nelson looking for an explanation on the penalty. And I believe it's a cross-checking call on Adrian. I mean, it looked like a situation where he was just doing his job and holding him up against the wall, but they interpreted it as cross-checking, and that is the judgment. So another power play here for Chippewa. They get it to Euler, left point, deals it ahead for Dirks. Dirks got the power play goal in the first period. Here's Euler. Skates toward the half wall, now in the corner, feeds it for Lindstrom. High slot shot, blocked by Horn. And he finds Myers, who moves to center. Myers across 8 power play goals. Tried to force it out in front. And it's redirected near side. 12 points on the power play as well for Connor Zmuhl, who is headed to play collegiate hockey at Alabama Huntsville. They get it to Euler at the right point. Here's Dirks. Tried to feed it for Zmuhl. Bottom of the circle. Her got a stick. Commitment there by the megawatt, Tyler Watkins. 5 minutes gone here in the third period. 30 seconds remaining in the Steel power play. Decker slips it into the zone, knocked away by Stoyanov. Here's a chance, shorthanded by Myers. Moving in on goal, backhand try. Oh, went over the net. Kicked off the high glass. And McGrath takes over in his own zone. 10 seconds left in the Steel power play. They saw. Left in the Steel power play.